Warning, this video contains media that talks about child assault and pedophilia. Tori Woods, Ashley Lauren, Lauren Ashley, whatever your name is, whoever you are, you disgust me. Hello everyone, my name is Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi. I am primarily a booktube channel. I talk about books, I do reading challenges, I analyze songs, I analyze meanings in books. I just love reading. But yeah, so based on the warning I have at the beginning of this video, I don't know how to gently ease into this topic. I would call this book a novel, but I absolutely despise thinking of it as a novel. I think court evidence would be a better term for it. But this novel was brought to my attention mainly through my Instagram threads and my Twitter feed. Mainly my Twitter feed, but I found it, or I discovered it, unfortunately, on Instagram threads. With all the tweets about Susan Collins' new Sunrise on the Reaping book in her Hunger Games series, there also came a lot of discourse about a book called Daddy's Little Toy by an author that goes by the pen name Tori Woods. So if you haven't heard about this, what do you think of when you hear the title Daddy's Little Toy? We're not thinking great, are we? Like, we're not thinking great stuff, right? It's a little weird. Let's read the synopsis, shall we? Daddy's Little Toy is a loose retelling of Cinderella, where Lucy's family are neglectful and cruel. As Lucy grows up, she finds herself attracted to her father's best friend. Little does she know that Arthur feels the same way. Together, they explore a daddy and little girl relationship, falling hard and fast for each other. Daddy loves spoiling his little toy and treating her like the princess she is. Happily ever after guaranteed, with extra sparkles and unicorns. So before I explain what the plot entails, I'm going to break down this synopsis. And hopefully you get more of a sense of why it's so vile and horrendous after knowing what I'm going to tell you this book is about. Loose retelling of Cinderella. So when something is a retelling, you keep the same narrative and the lessons that the original story taught, but with a twist. And oh yeah, does this author take some twist with it? You know, I'd say this is a risk, but they just really exploited themselves here. Really. I'd say because of the modern twist, this author's hard drive needs to be checked stat. Finds herself attracted to her father's best friend. Okay, age gap romance. We know that those are a thing in the book community. They explore a daddy and little girl relationship. Infantilization, anyone? Old man ex underage child? Anyone? Child predators? Anyone? Extra sparkles and unicorns. I need the FBI involved right now.
But Carrie, this is fiction and this could be someone's sexual desire.
You say that as a consenting adult, yes? You might indulge in this dominant and submissive bedroom roleplay as consenting adults, right? You think this means she wrote it between two consenting adults, right? You would hope so? Wrong. Oh, she got it taken down. Pedophilia is not a kink. Pedophilia is not sexy. Talking about a toddler or a child's private areas and pubic hair and how it needs to be bare is grounds for you to be seated in the electric chair. This is not smut, this is sexual assault. Which the main male character, Arthur, does to the main female character, Lucy, when she's 3 years old. Oh my god. So he assaults her at the age of 3. And when she's older, he still wants her to be 3 years old in the mind and because he found her as a toddler. Wow. So how much is the author marketing this pedophiliac book? Like this, I can't help myself when I'm around him. I wet my pants in excitement. At night, I use my unicorn Stuffy's horn on myself. All I think about while I'm being naughty is my dad's best friend and how I wish he could be my daddy. I'm the freak of the family. My dad is disappointed in me. My mom dismisses me, and my sister despises me. I'm delusional if I think Arthur would ever want to play with me. My juicy Lucy. She's finally 18. I wanted her longer than I can ever legally admit. She doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be my perfect little toy. My precious little unicorn. And I'm going to be her daddy. When I see her playing dress-ups, I forget about the fact that she's my best friend's barely legal daughter. Or that her mom hasn't protected and cherished her like she should. All I know is that she's meant to be my baby girl. Arthur, this man who's as old as Lucy's own father, gave her the nickname Juicy Lucy, which I can only assume the creep did when he met her at 3 years old. Okay, I gotta remind y'all. And he is now happy that Lucy's finally 18 because he's wanted her for so long. That being said, ever since he saw her as a 3-year-old, he still wanted her. He is belittling her whole existence by calling her a toy, sexualizing her with childlike words such as playing dress up and calling her baby girl. Oh, Tori Woods, orange is going to look so good on you. Oh, wait a minute. She released an apology on her now deleted Instagram account? Well, let's check it out. Hi everyone. I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. Daddy's Little Toy is definitely not promoting or inciting anything ever to do with CSA or pedophilia. What is being said is grossly disturbing and breaks my heart as well as makes me sick. Daddy's Little Toy is fictional and meant to represent the dominant daddy, is that what that is? And little girl world. I understand where I went wrong, and that is why I had removed it from Amazon this morning. What happened between these characters, yes, started at a young age. No happened while she was young. Yes, there were thoughts, and I can see how that is frowned upon. Nothing happened like that until she was of age. I know nothing that I say is going to change or fix what I've written. Hang on, let's kind of go over something real quick. What happened between these characters, yes, started at a young age. Nothing happened like that until she was of age. So, Tori, Miss Woods, if I might, you are stating that you acknowledge how Arthur preyed upon Lucy as a toddler. You acknowledge that. And not only do you acknowledge his predatory behavior, you also are acknowledging that, yes, he assaulted her at the age of 3. But to say that nothing happened until she was the age of 18, why are you justifying assault of a child? I don't care if this is fiction. I don't. Everything has subtext. So are you trying to say something here? Is this like drunk words or sober thoughts, except I don't know what the hell you were on to write this whole thing and then say that in your apology? I can't even think to give another example, because how do you try to justify child assault? Because what's worse than justifying that? You know, Tori Woods, I know a lot about your book right now, but what do I know about you specifically besides that weak apology? I'm Tori Woods, an Aussie author, Australian, just in case for those who don't know, who's addicted to reading and writing contemporary romance. I'm married to my soulmate and we have 2 adorable kitties together. I've been writing for 15 years under a different pen name, but decided it was Tori's time to shine. Oh, and did she ever. I'm an emo music lover. Guilty pleasure is that I like to get a cheeky weekly massage. I bet you do. Something you might find weird about me is that when I need to think, I get in my car and drive in silence with no direction in mind. That's probably the most normal thing I know about you. Who thinks of that in the silence of their car? Just this whole premise. Anyways. Oh, and she loves Disney. Tweets underneath this user's post where I got Tori Woods' About Me picture, I found that Lauren Ashley is her real name. And just like Tori Woods' Instagram account, she deleted her real one as well. So you cannot find Tori Woods on Instagram and you can't find Lauren Ashley on Instagram. I don't know how people are seeing this premise as a knowing that there is assault. This whole dynamic is so wrong. It doesn't matter that she's 18 when they do stuff, okay? It doesn't matter to me. And I never like the age gap romances where the female character has just turned 18, because then that means older men have just been, they've been lusting over this minor, this child for years. That does not sit right with me. It just shows the grotesqueness of, what actual women tend to go through, and sometimes men, okay? I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not really happy about this. Pretty angry over it. And I'm really angry when people try to justify it as fiction. Stuff like this happens in real life. I'm just literally at a loss for words. And I'm sorry, I'm following a script because I'm just so mad. I'm not going to go deep into this at all, but this topic is personal to me. I have people in my life who I love who are victims of child assault, who have gone through it, who are still to this day trying to heal themselves, and just to see it romanticized, it hurts. It hurts. Really? Like, this is what we've come to? It just makes me think, like, Tori Woods, like, how do you think of women? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop there. But to make it a love story is so wrong. It just seems like Tori just did not care. And she did not think about real people, real victims, and how they have to deal with what they went through growing up. According to an article on Frontiers, child sexual assault is characterized by the complex manipulation and coercion of the perpetrator and the unbalanced and power-based relationship that is established by leveraging and exploiting vulnerability. Childhood sexual abuse alters the normal development trajectories that are necessary for healthy socio-emotional function. Because these normal growing trajectories for a child's life goes off the beaten path, there is an increase for the likelihood of a child experiencing socio-relational difficulties, cognitive dysfunction, depression, anxiety, internalization, and externalization of problems. There are sexualized behaviors and post-traumatic symptoms. A large body of research has documented that the negative effects of CSA can persist until adulthood. A victim has PTSD from the event. They can end up having schizophrenia, conversion disorder, which is like you actually like physically feel sick. So many other mental disorders and eating disorders, like I said, anxiety, depression. Not only can they develop mental disorders and even bodily disorders, physical disorders, they are at more chance of substance abuse. And this isn't all victims of assault, but something that does happen when someone is assaulted is that they turn to. My mom works in a school with children and she's had to deal with some of these events happening to children, and she knows like why maybe some girls act differently towards men, or why men act different towards girls. It's hypersexuality is a trauma response to assault because a victim has been torn to shreds by their own guilt and shame. And to fix this, they turn to encounters. A website called ThriveWorks explains that hypersexuality is a trauma response because someone is trying to reclaim their power. A victim who is traumatized by their assault, they turn to because they want to have control now. They want to take back what's theirs. But this is so harmful. Like I said, this is not all trauma victims, but you would think that something like that would take a toll on a child. And I'm talking real world, okay? I'm just baffled how Tori thought this was a good idea. I don't know how she turned the hot daddy and sexy infant into a trope. I personally, I don't even hear anything sexy when I think about that. That is disgusting. So at the bottom of Tori's apology, it said there were people who were roped into this that shouldn't be. One of those names is someone called Georgia, a graphic designer who created the book cover. Georgia didn't know how dark the novel's plot was. They released a statement on their Instagram, and a lot of comments were pretty positive, being on their side, you know? And I think a big part of that is also because Georgia cut ties with Tori Woods, and Georgia had created, I think they said like 3 book covers for her. And then Georgia said that they're going to ask more questions in the near future from clients who want to have them design book covers. You know, more knowledge about the content, what are the tropes, what happens, trigger warnings, anything. Some commenters stated that Georgia probably should have gotten a better idea when they got the request from Tori. Many are bringing up the blurb of the novel, that thing I read earlier with Lucy's point of view, whatever, and Arthur's gross thing. So in a recent post on their Instagram, Georgia posted screenshots side by side of Tori Woods describing to them what to draw on January 3rd. On January 13th, 10 days later, Georgia executed the design. And in that message, Georgia asked Tori, "Do we have the blurb yet?" I don't know, Georgia. I don't know what they initially thought when they were given the assignment, because Tori really just laid it out there. Tori said, "Here's what I want for my book cover. Please do it." And Georgia executed it. This just makes me think that Georgia was just doing their job. However, Georgia did say that they don't read the barely legal romances, even said like, something seems a little infantilized here, but I'm not gonna harp on, you know, others who enjoy reading that. But I feel like you have to give your own input once you sketch the cover out, once you sketch the design, place the colors, draw in the little letter blocks, because why would this be a daddy dominant and little girl trope, and it actually looks like a book that a father would read to his 1-year-old daughter. Georgia, look, I can be really oblivious to some things, but oh my god. I mean, come on. Letter building blocks on a pink polka dot background. That's really, really weird. So Georgia has received death threats. They posted about that on their Instagram account. That is incredibly damaging to the psyche. And this puts them in harm's way as well. Do not do this. Do not send anyone death threats who's been roped into Tori Woods' magnum opus of dog. Don't do it to Tori Woods either, okay? The internet has done its job already. The internet has called out the suspicious media and they've shot her down. The word has already spread. There is, what seems to me, an unspoken line of what readers and authors can cross or should not cross. Because, you know, going towards that line may be a little risky, you know, maybe some people like that, but then you cross that line and there are horrors beyond your wildest nightmares. Like just absolutely outrageous plots that should not have been put down on paper and printed. So what allows authors such as Tori Woods to cross that line and try and label this a sexy smut novel? And if you're one of those people who believe that this is okay because it's fiction, what do you have to say to actual abuse survivors? How can you say that when someone has gone through that as a child or as an adult even? How can you say that it's okay to read that to someone who had to live it? That is absolutely vile. Let me tell you what fiction is. Dragons are fiction. Aliens are fiction. And a perfect true love is fiction too. But monsters are real. Monsters are real. And if you're defending them, you're a monster too. I thought of just ending the video there on that note. As you can see, I get so angry. I can't even form sentences to talk about how angry I am because I know I'm going to go off and that is not good. I wish I was monetized because then I could do some fundraiser to add to this video. And if I can, oh my god, please let me know. I don't know if I have to be on the YouTube pay thing or whatever to do that, but still, if I can't, and I was going to do this anyways, I'm going to link below resources and maybe the phone number for the sexual abuse hotline, you know. I just want to add resources because I feel like just talking about this, I mean, yes, we are dethroning these problematic authors on platforms. We are taking away any faith we may have in them, you know, but I feel like that's not enough and we actually need to like give back, as in like, here are resources that can help you, or if you need to learn the signs. I feel like I'd actually be doing something if I did that. So I'll put that in the description below. Let me know if I can somehow add a link to a fundraiser. I mean, I will do my best to see if I can find anything about that. And I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.